Hey y'all, do y'all remember me? Can I come back? It's been a long time, I know. Hey guys, it's me, Keisha. Welcome if you are new, and if you are old, I'm so sorry for leaving you guys for 3 months. I'm so sorry. But no, on a serious note, today I'm just going to be doing a life update. I have been gone for about 2 months, 2.5 months, and I just wanted to give you guys an update on everything that's been going on. A lot has happened. As you can see, my background is completely different, which I will get to. But a lot has happened, and I just wanted to update you guys. I don't want to just jump back into content and just start posting videos without updating you guys on where I've been, why I haven't posted in 2 months, and I'm just going to do a life update on everything that's been going on. I'm so excited for 2023. I'm manifesting so many things this year, and I'm just excited for a fresh new start. New place, new city, new space, new mindset, trying to get a new body. It's so much that's going on, and I'm just going to update you guys on everything. So stay tuned. Like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned until the end of the video because I will be doing a giveaway. Okay, let's see. Where did I leave off at? I think the last time I posted was late November. And of course it was Thanksgiving. I didn't really do much for Thanksgiving, honestly. I just kind of worked nonstop. That was my last video posted. And if you guys don't know, for the past 2 years, I have pretty much spent every moment of my free time working, doing some kind of side job, just trying to get out of debt as quickly as possible. I started with $89,000 in debt, and most of it was student loans, tickets, hospital bills, just every kind of debt you can think of. I pretty much had it. Credit card debt. And so I spent the past 2 years just working towards paying off my debt. And I'm officially on the other side of debt, which is debt free technically, because I still have $9,000 left to pay off, but I'm kind of trying to see if the president is going to clear up the last $9,000. But if he leave office and I still have that $9,000, then I'll just write a check for $9,000 and I'll officially be debt free. But I currently have a positive net worth, which is a really good thing for me. I've worked so hard. I've probably worked 12 hours a day some of these days, just trying to get out of debt as quickly as possible. I've pretty much lived like no one so that I can live like no one. So now that I'm finally just on the other side of debt, I think it's just time for me to start living more and just being intentional about my life and my goals. So yes, I'm in a really good place right now. So now that I'm finally debt free, it's time for me to start living again. But I didn't want to just start making big decisions without first coming up with a concrete plan for my life. And so I spent the past 6 months just aggressively saving up money, doing every kind of side job you can think of just to generate as much income as possible so that I can create this large emergency fund so that I can do the things that I'm manifesting in 2023. So I'm just finally ready to start living, being intentional about my life and my goals. I feel like if you're not intentional about the things that you want, then you're just going to kind of get what life throws at you. When you're intentional, you have a plan, I feel like you flourish and you manifest what you want in life. Okay, why I started paying off my debt. I started paying off my debt because when people would ask me how much debt I was in, it would embarrass me to say the number. And I would lie and just say, oh, 40,000, 50,000, which is like the average. But in actuality, it was double that. And it embarrassed me to say it out loud. Even for myself right now, I'm cringing saying that I was in $89,000 worth of debt. And granted, I did get my degree with my debt. I got a lot of tickets. I went to the hospital a couple times, and we already know the hospital will jack up a bill from $100 to $1,000. So I had a lot of good debt. Technically, I don't think no debt is really good debt unless it's a mortgage, but not all the debt was just me being careless with credit cards, no. But I did have a great deal of debt, and it embarrassed me. So that was the main reason why I just wanted to get out of debt. I felt like I wasn't accomplishing that many goals. Like I wasn't accomplishing my fitness goals. You know, I wasn't really accomplishing my spiritual goals, my social goals, nothing. And I felt like getting out of debt was something that I can control. Like that was the one thing that I had control over in my life. And so the Power of Habit book, if you haven't read the Power of Habit book, then I recommend reading that book. But it teaches you that when you work on the one thing in your life that you have control over and be intentional in that area, the rest will kind of fall into place. Like just your discipline in that area will cause you to succeed in the other areas as well, because it becomes like a trigger effect. And since that was the one area that I felt like I had the most control over, I just aggressively put all my effort and my heart into that, and that's what I did. The second reason is I was watching an Anthony O'Neill show, and if you don't know who that is, it's one of Dave Ramsey's personalities. But he was talking about the average black woman net worth was a cup of coffee, which is about $5 or $6, meaning that the average black woman have about $6 in her account. And this embarrassed me not only because I had $6 in my account, but my net worth was nothing because I was in $89,000 worth of debt. So I was worse than the average black woman. I was below that because I had a debt of $89,000. So that alone just embarrassed me and made me feel sad just to be in so much debt and not really be accomplishing any of my goals. And since that was the one goal that I felt like I had the most control over, I just wanted to tackle it and get it over with and just kind of start living. I felt like I didn't want to pursue any big business decisions or any big moves or buy myself anything nice because I felt like I almost didn't deserve it. And that's because I had so much debt. And so I knew that if I just start living like no one, driving a used car, staying with family, get rid of all the expensive things that I had and just kind of focus on paying off debt, I knew that once I get to that debt, I would feel like I was almost earning the lifestyle that I wanted. And so that was the second reason why I got out of debt. The third one was my little sister. She was paying off her debt. And it's something that we always kind of talked about, like getting debt free. But she was kind of the first person to just pull a trigger on it and just start making it happen. And just kind of watching her through her journey, I just kind of noticed that although she would complain and it would kind of depress her to pay off her debt, as she started to get closer to the finish line, she became like more confident and more optimistic about the future. And I just knew that if I started paying off my debt, it would give me that same like hope and motivation. So she was definitely a major factor as well. And the last reason why I started paying off my debt was because I knew that I couldn't make any moves first. Like I was afraid to make any business moves. I was afraid to make any kind of big decision because it's one thing to be, debt free and just be broke and you make a business move and it fails and you just be broke. But to know that you still not only broke, but you have this debt too, it just hit differently. So I knew that if I just completely got debt free and then saved up money and made a business move and it failed, I wouldn't feel bad because every money I work for would just come back in my pocket. So I can start over without having this pile of debt, just kind of weighing on me. So, excuse me. So that was the 4 reasons why I just decided to just pay off my debt and just get it over with. And y'all, it's a beautiful feeling. Like it's such a good feeling to know that every dollar I earn right now is my money. Like it's my money. I remember working and sometimes I would make $1,000 a week and $1,500 and I even made $2,000 a week one week. And although it felt good to earn so much money in a short period of time, it was kind of this bittersweet feeling because I knew it was going towards debt. And of course I had money saved up. I think I had about $30,000 or $40,000 saved up at the time when I first started paying off my debt. And I always wanted to keep like $10,000 as an emergency fund, but the other $30,000 I kind of like over the course of 6 months I kind of just put it on my debt. Maybe like 3 or 4 months. I kind of just put it all on my debt and watched the numbers go down. And I started noticing that it became a trigger effect in that way too, because the more I pay off my debt, it's like I got that same feeling of when I'm saving money, the kind of the rush that comes from it. You get that same rush when you're paying off your debt too. So I thought that I was going to be kind of, sad that I was basically giving all this money away or returning all this money to its rightful owner, the debtor. But it felt good just knowing that I was that much closer to my goals the more I made a payment. So it became exciting to make a payment. And of course I had to give myself small, little treats. I would, give myself a birthday trip every single year. I would, go to the nail shop every couple months. And I would give myself little treats, buy myself things along the way, every accomplishment, or every time I hit $10,000 in debt paid off, I would do something nice for myself. That way I didn't get the feeling of just feeling like I was getting depressed. Because I'm honestly, paying off your debt aggressively can sometimes be depressing. Like, it can depress you. It can put you in a very bad mindset because you feel like you're not living. And if you're not living, then what are you doing? You know, I'm not going to say you're dying, but you feel like it. You feel that way sometimes when you're just paying off debt. And you just don't feel good. It's like you're waking up every day just to work. And you can't really live the lifestyle you feel like you're working towards, but you just have to just stick with it and just pay it off. Because once you pay it off, now that work that you're working for, you get to keep that money and save it and invest it and do what you want with it. So I really believe in living like no one so that you can live like no one. And yeah, that is my update on debt. I am finally at a positive net worth. Thank you, God. I'm so grateful. I'm finally at a positive net worth, y'all. Like, I have come a long way. I have made so many sacrifices. I have watched friends and family live a lifestyle and buy things that I could afford, but I was not going to buy. I just purchased, where are they? Y'all, I just purchased my first pair of AirPods. Like, this is a basic necessity, kind of. Not really, but everybody have those. I didn't have a pair because I wanted to be debt free before I start buying things that I didn't need. Granted, looking back on it, I definitely should have purchased these sooner just because it was times when I would be doing like a side job like DoorDash or Instacart, and I would be, I would have my phone on speakerphone. Yes, I know, so ghetto. But I would have my phone on speakerphone so that I can continue shopping and talk on the phone at the same time. And if I had these AirPods, they would have made my life so much easier sooner. But like I said, I didn't want to spend any money outside of basic necessities until I became debt free. So this was one of my first post debt free gifts that I gave myself. And honestly, it feels good. It feels good to buy things that I don't need but bring me joy. And I'm just happy about it. People think that paying off debt is always a good feeling, and honestly, it's not. Sometimes you can get put in a really dark place, especially when you watch your family and your friends just kind of buy things they want and live the lifestyle that they desire to have. Although they're also in debt, they're financing it a lot of the times, it still doesn't change the fact that you feel a little sad for yourself that you're not buying what they see as like basic necessities. When I first started paying off my debt, it was easier because my sister was still on her debt journey. My brother was paying off his debt, his car. And so it kind of became like a friendly competition amongst family. And we would all just kind of call each other on the phone and talk about the side jobs that we were doing. They were doing Lyft. I was doing DoorDash and Instacart. And so it was fun because I had a group and a community to do it with me. But then my brother stopped and started going to school, and then my sister stopped because she was debt free, it became lonely. And so what brought me so much joy was kind of putting me in a funk. And it caused me to start emotional eating a lot. And I'm a person that I'm a foodie. I eat when I'm happy. I eat when I'm sad. I eat when I'm depressed. I eat when I'm in a funk. I eat when I'm celebrating. I eat when I'm watching TV. I eat when I'm driving. I am just an eater. I'm an emotional eater. And so just being in such a dark place at times, it caused me to eat even more. And so now this trigger effect of paying off debt, I thought it was going to make me, happier and make me work on social goals and make me, want to be more fit in the gym. But it did the exact opposite, and I gained over 30 pounds within that time frame because one, I was working so much, so I wasn't really prioritizing, cooking at home. So I was eating out a lot, or I would just eat the cheapest thing I can find, or just kind of grab anything just so that I can start working again. Or I don't know, just like every time I would feel sad that I couldn't get something, I would just go treat myself to food. And of course I was living with family, so every time somebody called me fat, I would go and eat more. And so I just kind of started doing a lot of emotional eating. And so I had to basically take a step back from that, reorganize my life a little bit and kind of refocus. And that's when I started treating myself to little gifts. So if I paid off $5,000 worth of, debt, then I would go and get my nails done or get my hair done. If I paid off $10,000, then I would go and buy myself an outfit. And I just had to basically give myself small goals. Or if I paid off $10,000, I would go on a mini trip, birthday trip. And so I had to find ways to treat myself, and that way it didn't feel like I was working towards nothing. Although I was working towards obviously being debt free and a better life for myself, I had to basically give myself small goals, or small little rewards rather. And so that was my debt-free update. I now have a positive net worth. Debt-free, debt-free. Technically, I have a positive net worth, but I'm not debt-free yet. But if Mr. President leaves office and he don't pay off that 9 for me, then I'm going to go ahead and write a check. Okay, the next update, what else I have? I made some notes because if I don't, I would just get the rambling and we would be here all day talking about nothing. So... okay, so after I became debt-free and started paying off debt, I started to basically make goals for myself. Late November was the last video I posted, and then I went right into my birthday trip. I planned a last-minute birthday trip to San Francisco with my sister and a friend. We had a blast. We had so much fun. We went to Napa Valley. And as soon as I got back in town from Napa Valley, the very next day, I went to the city that I moved to. And I had to find an apartment. I don't know why I thought finding an apartment was going to be an easy job, because I mean, it's temporarily, you're staying there for a year. But when you know nothing about the place you're moving to, you don't know nothing about the place you're moving to. That alone is just enough. You don't really know what you're doing. So I had to hire a realtor. And then, she was working with other clients too. So she was a little busy, and then it was the communication of just me not being there, her trying to FaceTime me to see the apartment. It just was becoming too much of a job, so I ended up having to just go there for like a week or two and just stay there until I found what I was looking for. And I knew that I wanted to live downtown. I knew that my budget was $1,500, and I knew I wanted something absolutely beautiful, and I didn't want to live in the hood. And so it was hard because you're dealing with a strict budget. You want something beautiful, obviously. You want the location. I wanted it all, and I wasn't going to settle until I found it. And I knew that I wasn't moving, and I wasn't moving in the summertime when it was the height of moving. I wasn't moving. I felt like I was moving during a time where it was slow. It was winter time, so I knew that I was going to be able to get what I was looking for in my budget. And the first apartment I found, it was absolutely beautiful, everything I wanted. But it seems like the location, it was, wasn't that far. It was like maybe 15 minutes from downtown. But the apartment complex was the only beautiful thing around. They had the rainbows. There's certain stores that just let you know that you're in the hood. When you see a rainbow, when you see a cash for pawn, when you see a liquor store in every corner, you know you're in the hood. So although the apartment was beautiful, and I was going to get the showroom. So the showroom is usually the best lighting. It's the best apartment. They picked the best apartment to basically decorate to show you the apartment complex. And since that was going to be the last apartment, I was going to get the showroom. But I didn't want it because it was on the first floor. And I don't know why I have a phobia of someone just climbing through my window in the middle of the night being on the first floor. So I didn't want to be on the first floor. I had to be on at least the second floor. And yeah, I had to at least be on the second floor. And I really want to move in like a high rise or a mid rise, just because I feel like, I'm still relatively young. I don't have any kids. I'm single. And so I felt like now is the perfect time for me to live that lifestyle of just the high rise in downtown and, the fast life, before I obviously start manifesting other things. But yeah, that apartment was a no. Although it was beautiful, they gave me an insight on what it was like, what it was going to be like and how I was going to decorate. It ultimately ended up being a no for me, so I passed on it. And then the second apartment complex, it looked a little old, and I don't know what it is about new builds. I just feel like they're building too many apartment complexes for me to settle for one that's old. So that was kind of another dilemma. I really wanted to be the first person to live in that particular apartment, especially since in Texas, they're building up so many apartments everywhere. So why live somewhere old that someone else has been in when you can get something newer, nicer for the same price? That didn't make any sense to me. So it had to be a new build, and it had to be downtown, and I wanted it to be beautiful. I wanted it in my budget. I just was super picky, and it was making the process so much more harder than it had to be. But I knew that I was going to get it, and I wasn't going to settle for anything less. The second complex was Alexa Memorial. I was in love with that view. Like, it was a beautiful view of downtown. It was a beautiful greenery view. The lighting was perfect, but I hated the finishes. I don't know what it is about wood on wood, but it gives me an old fashioned. And as someone who is everything modern, I didn't want to live in something that I felt like was a little old fashioned, but it did give me an old money vibe, which is that real contemporary, just luxe feeling. And I didn't want that. I didn't want dark cabinets. I wanted bright furniture. And I just felt like that apartment was going to restrict me when it came to furniture in the way I would like. And plus it was on side of a major highway, and it ultimately just became a deal breaker for me. The price was right. It had a parking garage, because I don't know what it is about people stealing Catalyst convertible out of cars, but that's a scary feeling, especially moving somewhere different with no family. I just didn't want to put myself in that kind of environment. So although it was a nice neighborhood, it was really close to downtown, and it was majority of what I wanted. I knew that if I just keep on looking, I would get better. So I just had to ultimately pass on that one. It just seems like everything was close. Everything was hot, but not quite there yet. I would have the beautiful place for the price, but it wouldn't have the location. And then I would have the location. It would be beautiful, but then the price would be more out of budget. And I just kept getting so close that I knew that if I just keep looking, I was going to find the price, the look, and the location, and the parking garage. So I knew I just had to keep on looking, because I was getting too close to what I wanted. So I knew I just had to keep on putting in more work. And of course I ended up finding some places that I really like. So be patient when you're looking for apartment complexes. And then the next place that I just thought I was sold on, I applied for this place. I gave them a $400 deposit and everything, because I just knew I was going to move there. And that was Pros. This place was beautiful. It was massive. It was such a big apartment. It had a view of downtown. It was 5 minutes from downtown, which means that I wasn't in the mix with all the police sirens and the traffic, but I was on the neighborhood right outside. Like if I put in downtown in the GPS from this particular place, it gave me 5 minutes. I put down the deposit, I applied, I got accepted, and I just knew I was about to move there. But they didn't have a parking garage, and downtown has a big homeless population, and I read some of the reviews, and people were stealing like Catalyst convertibles out of the cars, and I didn't want to go through that. I didn't want to deal with that at all. Even though it was a gated community, I knew that I needed a garage, because I didn't want to put myself in that situation. So I knew that I needed the garage. So although I was in love with the place and I thought it was nice, some of the finishes did seem a little cheap too. So I guess I liked the place because of the space, and I knew that I was going to be able to do a lot with it as far as decor, and I had a view of downtown. So that was giving me about 80% of what I wanted. But one thing I didn't like about that particular place was the area was being gentrified, and so everything around it was kind of vacant. Like they had already moved everybody out of the places, but it was vacant. And I don't know if I wanted to live in such a vacant place. I don't know. It just seems like my apartment complex was the best place there, and everything else was just kind of abandoned. And I knew that they were going to start building it, but I was thinking about the noise when they start building it. And when I showed my realtor this place, she was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, what's going on? And she basically said that some of the residents reported rats in the place, or mice. And I don't know if y'all know me, but I am afraid of, oh my gosh. Thinking about rats right now is giving me I hate rats. I hate rats. I hate them. I hate them worse than dogs. I don't like dogs, but rats, I fear rats more than dogs. And that was a hard deal breaker for me. Like I didn't want to deal with rats. But after doing some research, I kind of discovered that whenever you're building, when you start digging in the ground, because rats are in the ground, and that's their place. When you start digging, they're going to come up. So they need somewhere to go, so they're going to escape to the first livable place. And in this situation, it ended up being the apartment complex, because it was, nothing but dirt. They still had, the maintenance still was trying to get rid of the bugs and the rats and just stuff like that. Apparently it's pretty normal when you're building stuff that rats and mice and, stuff like that come. Which is why every new build usually have they come off of bugs and spray a lot, because they have so many bugs, because it used to be a vacant place. So that made sense, but I still didn't want to deal with it. And I kept thinking about okay, if there's no rats, hypothetically, let's say there's no mice and rats in a place. Because everything around is vacant, when they start building up the city, that means those rats and mice are going to find somewhere else to go. And since my building was the only livable building in the area, that means that all those mice was going to rush to my apartment. Although it was a mid-rise apartment, so I was on the 5th floor. I didn't want to deal with that. The thought of a mice being in my apartment just made me want to throw up. So it was a hard no. But I still was being open-minded and just trying to get over my phobia of rats, but I didn't want to go through that. So it's just like now I'm risking rats, and I don't even have furniture up in here. Like I'm sitting on a mattress right now. I'm sitting on my old mattress. So it's just like I'm too close to the ground. What if a rat crawl on me when I'm asleep? I didn't want to deal with that. So now I'm dealing with rats in this place, or possible rats. And then I'm dealing with no parking garage. So my car could be stolen and I could be bit by a rat. I'm being dramatic, but it didn't end up being a no. So I ended up letting them keep the deposit, and I just kept looking. It had the cheap finishes, which mean that they did the bare minimum with the apartment complex. No parking garage, which means that I was risking my car or my Catalyst convertible being stolen. And the mice, just like, of course, I don't believe the place had mice because I've been there several times and I asked a lot of the residents. I was stalking residents like, do you have mice? Do you have mice? And they all just kept saying no, but I knew that when they start to build around, not only would it be noisy, which I was trying to avoid by not living in the mix of downtown, but also those mice would need somewhere to temporarily go. And I didn't want to deal with that, so ultimately I passed on that place as well. So after weeks of looking, I finally found the perfect apartment. It's downtown. I got it for $14.90, which is in my budget. It actually was $14.60, but I upgraded the apartment so that I can get a view of the city. I got everything I wanted below budget, so thank God for that. I'm going to show you guys the apartment. I'm probably going to make a separate video just so this video here won't be too long, but I finally found the perfect apartment. We had some hiccups, I'll admit. We had some hiccups because I moved in December 27. Technically, that was the day I got my key. But then it's a new build, brand new, so it's still kind of dusty. And they were supposed to clean it, but when I came, the place was still a little dusty, and I just felt like clean it, like just clean the apartment. And so I had to basically chase them down because it was, so close to Christmas. Everybody was, all the staff was on vacation. And so I didn't even get to move into my apartment until the second weekend in January, which was frustrating and annoying because I wanted to be in my apartment by January 1st so that I can start all my goals, just inside my new space. But it didn't work out like that, which I'm grateful. I'm here now and I'm ready to just, start my new year off great. So that was kind of a bummer that I didn't get to move in January 1st or before January 1st, but it is what it is. I can't complain too much because on the 27th, I still had family in town from Christmas. My entire family came home for Christmas. All my siblings, my parents, of course, already is in Austin. And so we had a really great Christmas. Like it was such just good vibes with nothing but family. We got a little family picture, and barely because we dysfunctional as heck when it comes to, it's hard to get the whole family together for a picture. So, next update, my health. Okay, so the entire month of December, I was eating trash. Like when I say trash, I was eating out a lot. Family was in town. We were going out to dinner every day. I was in San Francisco. We were eating like crazy. So my diet all December was trash. But I was just like, you know what, let me just enjoy the holiday and I'll just jump back, start my fitness, health and fitness goals in January when I'm in my new apartment, new year, debt freedom. I'll just start everything January 1st. So I just let myself just wild out the entire month of December, and I ate cheese like crazy. If you don't know, I am severely lactose. Like cheese does not agree with my body at all, but I just was like, you know what? Bring on a pizza, bring on a pasta, and I just wild out like crazy. January, the second week of January come and I can't breathe. Like, y'all, when I say I can't breathe at all. Like my nose is completely clogged up. I'm sleeping for 2 hours at a time because I'm afraid I'm going to smother. Granted, the body doesn't work that way. Your body will naturally start to breathe out of your nose. But I felt like I was smothering. Like I couldn't breathe at all. It does not matter how much I blow my nose, my entire nose was clogged up. It was no mucus, no snot or nothing coming out. I just could not breathe. It almost felt like I had a stoppage inside of my nose. So I'm sleeping 2 hours at a time, waking up to, do the hot towel method, essential oils. I'm doing everything I can to just get a little relief. And the moment I lay down, my entire nose will be blocked. Like couldn't breathe at all. I was taking Benadryl like clockwork, just trying to put myself to sleep, but I just could not sleep. I was restless. Like it was such a miserable feeling. And I didn't want to go to the emergency room because I felt like, what could they do? What could they possibly do that I can't do at home? I just didn't see them helping me out at all. But after being that way for an entire week, I'm like, okay, it's getting worse. It's not getting better. And that's when I was talking to my sister, and she was like, okay, you may have a sinus infection. Okay, I've always heard about sinus infections, but I never really knew what it was. Like, what is a sinus infection? Never really knew what it was. You have an infected sinus. I get that, but I didn't know that stopped you from breathing. I don't know. I just didn't. That was never something that I dealt with or had to go through, so I didn't really know a lot about it. But I'm just like, okay, I have a sinus infection. I started looking on Google diagnostics, Dr. Google, and Dr. Google made me think I was dying. And so Dr. Google was like, you have a sinus infection. So I'm like, okay, let me see how to treat a sinus infection. So I'm doing all these things online, what they say, hot towels, essential oils, fresh air. I'm doing everything I can to clear out what I believe was a sinus infection. Nothing's working. Nothing at all. Still can't sleep, can't breathe. It was a very miserable feeling. If you ever had a sinus infection, then you understand what I was going through, but it was worse. So my insurance didn't kick in until January something. So I didn't want to go to the doctor until my insurance kicked in. It finally kicked in, then I had to find a doctor and make an appointment and wait for the appointment. And so I finally get to the urgent care. I was going to go to the emergency room, but I didn't want an expensive hospital bill, especially being, finally getting out of debt. I didn't want to just be dramatic, go to the ER, and then they tell me that it's no big deal, send me home to do the same thing that I'm doing. And now I have an expensive hospital bill. So I didn't want to go to the hospital unless I knew for sure that it was serious. But after about 2 weeks of still not being able to breathe, sleeping 2 hours a night, I was like, okay, you know what? My sleep is important to me. I can't focus on any of my goals because I can't breathe at night. Like, not even at night, but now it was getting worse. Because now I couldn't breathe in the daytime. So it became, in the daytime, I would be able to breathe out of one nostril, and then at night, it would be completely blocked. But now in the daytime, I couldn't breathe out of any of my nostrils. There was no snot, no mucus. It just felt like somebody had something in my nose and I just couldn't breathe out of it. And so when I finally went to the urgent care, they told me that I couldn't breathe because I had developed pus in my nose. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but I'll put it on the screen so you guys can know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's basically when either a sinus infection, asthma, or something goes untreated for too long, your nose becomes swollen and it develops like a thick tissue starts to grow on inside of your nose. And the only way to get rid of it is surgery. So I'm like, so basically y'all telling me that I need surgery on my nose so that I can breathe. That's what I heard. And so I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to go get to a specialist and get a second opinion. So she was like, okay, well, I'm going to give you this medication that can help shrink it, in the meantime. But in order to get them removed, you have to have surgery. So now I'm getting nervous because I'm like, okay, I've never had any major surgeries before. And now you're telling me that in order for me to breathe at night or in the daytime at all, I'm going to have to get these pulse removed off my, tissues of my nose removed so that I can breathe, which means that, I can't have the surgery tomorrow. I can't have it next week. So I'm going to be stuck not being able to breathe until I get the surgery. So I immediately scheduled an appointment with the ENT doctor. I'm like, okay, I need to know what's going on. And not only that, but when I was doing the neti pot, I was tilting my head to the side, which caused an ear infection. So if you look at my ears right now, it's swollen right here because I literally had an ear infection from trying to diagnose myself at home. So now I'm treating that too. So if this is your sign to go your behind to the doctor, go to the doctor because, you could make things a lot worse by trying to diagnose yourself or using Google Dr. Google. Ouch. But she ended up giving me 5 different medications, y'all. This lady gave me 5 different pill bottles. And it wasn't a situation where she wanted me to take one of them each day. No. One of them was, this is a steroid. This is going to basically shrink the tissues in my nose. I need you to take 6 of these the first day, and then the next day take 5, and then 4, and then 3. Like, she wanted me to do that every single day. And then the last day, take a half of it for 3 days. And then she wanted me to be on another medicine that was, 3 pills a day for the first 3 days. And then on the day 4, take 2 a day for the next 3 days. and then take one. So she basically wanted to put me on, y'all, she was trying to make me take 20, 30 different pills a day, 5 different medicines. And I'm just like, okay, this is overkill. Like, I don't want all, I'm not a medicine person. Like, I don't even like Tylenol or Benadryl. I don't like medicine. So you're telling me that I'm going to be on 20 different medications a day? No. That doesn't work for me. No, I'm sorry, no. So I immediately scheduled an appointment with the ENT doctor, and when I went to him, he looked at my nose, and he right away, he confirmed it. He was like, you have pulse. He told me exactly, what it was, and he was just like, I can put you on, you don't have to take all of that medicine. I can put you on, one steroid. Is going to be a bigger, nastier pill, but you'll only have to take 2 a day, 1 in the morning, 1 at night. And when he looked at my nose, he was like, okay, you know what? It's really bad. So although I'm going to put you on a different steroid, so you don't have to take the, the 6 pills, the 5 pills, the 4, the 3. He said you won't have to take that because they're both steroids and you can't take them together. So I'm going to put you on this medicine, but I still want you to take the other 4 medicines, which one of them was just like a spray for when I need it. So technically that's not a medicine. That was just kind of like a nozzle spray. But the other 4, he wanted me to continue taking those and take the steroid that he recommended. It's not just going to basically get rid of the infection in your nose, but it's going to shrink, the pulse in your nose as well. And he was just like, they're eventually going to come back. They're going to grow back. But this will shrink them enough for you to be able to breathe. And, he said he had some clients that basically went vegan and, basically changed their diet, and they swear by it, but he don't know how true it is. The only way to remove them permanently is to get surgery. But he gave me medicine so that I can at least, shrink them, get the swelling down, and that way I can breathe in the meantime, but they may come back. But I was doing, Dr. Google, just doing research in general on it, and they were saying that the medicine can shrink it and make it never come back. It's one of those things where you may take the steroid, it shrink them completely and they never come back, and they may come back. It's kind of a toss-up. So he ended up giving me the medicine, which these pills were bigger and nastier than the others. Like, the others were medium-sized pills. These pills are gigantic. They're huge, but I only had to take 1 in the morning and 1 at night. And he still wanted me to take the other pills, which is the 3 the first day for 3 days, and then 2 and then 1. He still wanted me to take those, and he still wanted me to take the evening ones at nighttime. And he said I can still use the nozzle spray. So basically, I ended up getting put on 4 medications instead of 5, but I went from about 20 pills a day to only about 6 or 7 of them. So that wasn't as bad, which I'm not a pill person. Like, I don't like taking medicine at all. I would rather just thug it out holistically, whatever, before I take medicine. So it had to be really bad for me to want to take medicine. And my sister was saying that she think I'm allergic to something in the air, like some pollen. I forgot what she said. She said that I was allergic to something in the air, cedar, and because it was really, like heavy in the air right now, that's probably what was causing it. I don't know what was going on, but I've been on the medicine for about 3 days right now, and I can breathe. I still have trouble smelling a little bit, but I'm still just taking the medicine. I have a bad habit of when I start to feel better, I'll completely stop taking the medicine, but I don't ever want to feel like that again. And since he told me that my nose tissue is, obviously need to be cut, I'm just like, okay, let me shrink this as much as possible. That way I have a better chance of it not coming back. And so I'm on less medication now, and I'm going to be on this medication for the next 2 weeks. And he said that he wants to basically do a follow-up appointment with me to see like if they're shrunken up some, how it's looking up in there, and to see if, we're going to go the surgery route or not. But I am anti-surgery. Like, if I don't need it, I don't want it. I'm not ready for any major surgeries. I've never had any of them. So I'm going to just keep taking the medicine, because I have a bad habit of when I start medicine, once I start to feel better, I'll stop taking it. But since I want the pulse to shrink, I'm going to keep, taking them so the swelling can go completely down. Whatever I'm allergic to can just be eliminated. And of course, I'm going to, I'm cutting off cheese for good. Like, I'm done with cheese. So I'm going to just, do my part at home. I'm going to keep taking the medicine, and I'm just going to hope and pray that I don't have to have any major surgeries. So that is my health update. What else do I have to update you guys on? let me see, Christmas, birthday, health. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I almost forgot. Okay, so now that I'm debt free, one of the main things that I want to do is I want to travel more. So I signed up for the all you can fly pass with Frontier. I know Frontier. I know they're not the best airline, but I don't care at this point. Like, I just want to travel, baby step it. One day I will get that first class flight overseas and just live that lifestyle. But for right now, I just want to baby step it. So I signed up for an all you can fly Frontier airline pass. Is basically where you pay. I paid $800 for mine. It was $600, but I missed that sale. $9's $1,000 if you wanted to get it. But you pay $800 for all you can fly pass, and you can fly year round as much as you want. Of course, they block out like holidays or any major dates, but if you're flexible, then you can turn your flexibility into adventure. So I went ahead and signed up for that. And since I'm not currently working a 9 to 5, I feel like I can be more flexible to, fly when I want to and just kind of, have more adventures this year. One of my major goals for 2023 is to fly more and just to travel more. So that is definitely going to save me money in the long run, and I'm excited for that purchase. It's also one of my post-debt freedom gifts to myself, which is to travel more. So yeah, lots of vacations coming up. I'm going to travel as much as I can. I'm going to start off with, little weekend trips here and there because I still got to pay for the hotel, and I'm traveling alone. So I'm going to turn into a solo traveler because I'm so sick of like just kind of waiting on people. Like, I was trying to convince my mom and my sister and friends to get it. Granted, some of my friends did purchase it, so thank God for that I'll have some trips with them. But I just felt like I'm ready to start doing things on my own. Like, so many times I've let, adventures go because I wanted a friend or a partner or somebody to do it with me. But now I'm just ready to just start traveling on my own, doing things on my own, making moves on my own. And that way I never have an excuse to not do it. So I'm definitely about to become a solo traveler. And so, yeah, this is my life update. I'm so excited for the new year. I can't wait for the lifestyle content, the travel, the fashion, just all of the above. I'm just so excited for it all. If you have made it to the end of this video, I am doing a giveaway. All you have to do is obviously be subscribed, like the video, and leave me a comment down below. Leave me a regular comment and then leave your Cash App. Don't put the money sign though, because that's going to make it really obvious. Just put this emoji and then your Cash App. Obviously, when I'm Cash Apping you the money, I'm going to know to put the money sign in it so you don't have to do it. But if you want to enter the giveaway and you want to support me, just be subscribed, like the video, leave a comment, and your Cash App. And one lucky winner will get $50, which is not a lot of money, but it's lunch, dinner, maybe, depending on where you go. So yeah, gas money, make it useful, whatever. Or you can just put in your savings account, or you can put it towards your debt, because around here we are debt free. Whatever you want to do with it, it's about the support. It's about growing my channel. So if you want to support me, into the giveaway. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, I will see you guys later. Mwah.